And our first guest this week's with me in studio, Mr. Dean Bornstein. He is the CEO of Empire Film Group Incorporated. EFGU is the stock symbol. Dean, welcome to Money TV.
Nice to see you, Don.
Well, now, Dean, Empire Film Group describes itself as an independent production, finance, and distribution film company, led by a management team, as you say, with more than 20 years' experience. Can you give us a general overview of the company?
Sure. Our management is made up of film and production executives who have filmed and produced projects all over the world, in Europe, in Latin America, in Canada, and the U.S. And we're primarily a group of executives who seek out very interesting tax-advantaged film opportunities in different treaty countries. I'm a Canadian citizen, and we do many of our projects in Canada to be able to take advantage of the Canadian content tax guidelines. Canada has 52 co-production treaties with countries throughout the world, and we're able to look at a specific project and look at the tax advantages based on the location requirements and seek out the best opportunities available throughout the world.
Well, it's interesting you should bring that up because, you know, more and more films we see are being produced in Vancouver, being produced in Toronto, and obviously successful filmmaking begins with financing. You got to get the film financed before you can go any further. And are these the advantages that you have over other small studios, this you know, dual country, so to speak?
Absolutely. Because Canada got very aggressive 20 years ago, they really created an industry where there wasn't an industry. There was many advantages to filming in Canada when the exchange rate was very favorable to the American dollar, but the advantages that were set up 20 years ago are very strong and still exist today. With Canadian content projects, a Canadian producer is able to access 25 to 50% of the film's budget through tax credits, labor rebates, and subsidies that are offered through the government. So the two big film centers, which are Vancouver in British Columbia and in Toronto, have very aggressive tax programs and labor rebate programs to incentivize the Canadian companies to film in those jurisdictions.
That's very interesting. Now, the company indicates, and I'll quote, a dedication to low-cost, high-quality projects that are going to attract strong talent and strong distribution. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Our project's budget ranges are generally $2.5 to $5 million. An average studio budget is $75 to $100 million. The marketing costs for a studio film are $50 to $100 million. So we try to look at projects that have high commercial appeal, are interesting to talent, and don't require large commitments of dollars to be profitable. Our film projects are very safe when we look at risk to return, and because we stay under the $5 million range, we're not required to do big box office. We generally will generate profitability before the film's even released.
Well, it's interesting. Again, Empire Film Group Incorporated, stock symbols EFGU. For more information, call us from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449 to receive free information in the mail. Now, independent companies like yours have recently been the rage in the Hollywood industry. Does that make it easier for you to conduct business as opposed, say, 20 years ago when it was all the majors?
I think technology has really required that there be many, many more film companies to produce content because of the internet, because of mobile phones, because of the digital domain with film and DVD. There is a tremendous appetite for content worldwide. The markets really demand more product. The cable channels, the streaming now that's available really are too aggressive in terms of being able to be supported by the studios. So the independent film companies really have an opportunity because film costs are less than what they used to be with digital production. Independent film companies are able to move forward and produce content for the international markets.
Now, I'm sure being a smaller company, it must make it easier for you to, so to speak, think on your feet and move quicker than whereas the major studios got to go through so many levels of bureaucracy.
The studios are run by a lot of corporate executives, and I feel are really afraid to make a lot of decisions because they're afraid to lose their jobs. We look at projects on a project-by-project basis. We're able to make decisions very quickly based on the script, the material, the talent that's attached, and make decisions pretty immediately. So we are able to analyze a project very quickly, look at the costs of production, look at the locations that are required, look at the jurisdictions and legalities that are associated with each project, and able to make very, very fast decisions.
Well, tell us about some of the projects you've got in development.
We just finished a film in Vancouver called Blonde and Blonder with Pamela Anderson and Denise Richards, and we've just finished a script to the sequel. So we're working pretty aggressively on getting that film into production in 2008, probably during the summer. And that's a really exciting project. That's really a feature film that is in the same line of Dumb and Dumber. And Blonde and Blonder with Pamela Anderson and Denise Richards is a lot of fun. I mean, they were great to work with. And we're really looking forward to doing the next project this summer. We've got another project that we're doing as a Canadian-Colombian co-production called Havana Heat. We'll be filming in Cartagena, and we'll be taking advantage of the Canada-Colombia co-production treaty and the financial incentives that are offered by both countries. And we will look to use that as a movie pilot for a television series. So in the event that the show gets picked up in television broadcast, we'll produce the film in Canada and in Colombia and go back and forth. That's a real exciting project. There's a film coming out actually this Friday that was shot in Cartagena last year called In the Time of Cholera with Javier Bardem and Benjamin Bratt. So Colombia is becoming a very active and busy film center. We're working on another project that we look to film in the fall of 2008, which is called Kilo, which is really a lethal weapon franchise series with powerboating, where we go undercover to try to find drug smugglers through the powerboating type of drug trade. So that's something we'll be doing later in the year. We've got an annual television pageant that we're prepping right now for a May shoot, which is called New Models of the World.
Well, Dean, obviously the general public probably thinks of success in filmmaking strictly by looking at box office, because let's face it, that makes all the headlines, but the revenue sources go much deeper than that, don't they?
Sure. Box office is generally the first arena for revenues, and there's probably just as much or more money that's made in ancillary markets through television broadcasts, DVD sales, soundtracks, mobile phone downloads. The revenue streams from some of these film and television projects can last for many, many, many years after its initial release. But so the box office is the first tier of revenue, but really there's many, many, many more opportunities to generate revenue in a film or television project.
Now, it would seem to me that with all of these ancillary revenue sources that didn't exist, even a dozen years ago, really, that's got to make it the road to success for smaller companies like yours just a little easier to travel?
Absolutely. Because you have these additional revenue streams that are available for content, and because there's so many more channels, and because there's such a demand for product, it's a lot easier to produce projects economically that will make revenue and generate profits for many years into the future.
Now, there's something like the writer's strike that we're seeing going on right now. Does that adversely affect what you folks are trying to do?
Actually, for our company, we have a competitive advantage. I feel very bad for the writers, and I hope that this strike gets settled very quickly. But because we do a lot of our filming outside of the country, we're not governed by the Writers Guild of America. So we'll look to film 3 of our projects in Canada next year. We'll do 1 of our projects in the U.S. So we actually have an advantage when there's strikes that are happening in the United States, and we're not really affected by it. A lot of our properties have already been optioned and already been acquired, so we're not affected by any type of writing that might need to happen in order for the project to go into production.
Very interesting. Again, Empire Film Group Incorporated, EFGU is the symbol. You can go to their website, empirefilmgroup.com, or you can give us a call toll-free, 888-259-4449.